TIFU by giving my son permission to beat his bully's ass. My son was born with a condition called pectus excavatum. In layman's terms, his chest is sunken in. His condition was so bad that he only had 2.5 inches between his sternum and his spine, and his heart and lungs were bruised because of it. In December, he had surgery to correct it, and they put 2 nickel bars in his chest to give it space and train his bones to grow correctly. About 3 weeks after his surgery, a kid punched him and dislodged the top bar, and he had to have another surgery to put the bar back in place. The kid has been through a lot. Well, the doctor cleared him for most activity last week, just no skateboarding or bike riding, but he could now lift his backpack and go hang out with friends and play pickup, non-contact sports. Unbeknownst to me, a kid in his class had been bullying him all semester. And because my son was afraid of getting hit again, he just took it. Well, the evening he was cleared, he came to me and said, "Dad, I'm cleared now. A kid has been bullying me and hitting me for months. Can I kick his ass?" Well, my son isn't really a fighter. He's fought with his brothers, but never anyone else, and he's always gotten his ass kicked. So I just figured he was just talking. But this is the first I had heard about the bullying, and I was concerned. I could tell he was distressed about the situation, so I told him to knock the fucker out. He just nodded and went to his room. Now, his older brother is a tough sob. He had a traumatic brain injury 2 years ago, and he missed a year of school, so he's in the same grade and coincidentally takes the same class. I talked to him about it and told him to handle it, but don't get in trouble. He told me that the kid walks in every day and punches my son in the head. I asked him why he allowed that to happen, and he said he wanted his brother to get tough, and once he was tired of getting hit, he would do something about it. While I kinda agree with his thinking, I instructed him to handle it without getting in trouble. The next morning I took them both to school, then drove back home to get my younger daughter, who goes to a different school that starts later. On the way to take her to school, my wife calls me. "Have you taken XXXXX to school yet?" "Well, after you do, go pick up your son. He got in a fight." I just assumed it was my oldest son. Imagine my surprise when I walked into the school office to see my younger son with a grin from ear to ear. He was beaming. He pointed to another kid sitting in a chair holding an ice pack on his face. I warned him. I was so proud. He had walked into class, sat down, and the kid popped him in the head like always. My older son got up to intervene, and before he could, my son decked the kid with one punch. He said the kid was bawling on the floor, and that it was the best day of his life. He got suspended for 3 days. TL, doctor, I gave my son permission to beat up his bully because I didn't think he would, and he did it. Edit 1. The kid who punched my son in the chest was one of his friends. It wasn't malicious. Just 2 boys clowning around. He was horrified that he had hurt my son. The bully punched my son in the head every day. Once he found out my son couldn't do anything about it, he just kept on. My son wasn't the only one he bullied either. Also, the bully's brother came to my son later and told him that he had warned him, once my son could fight, that he was going to get his ass kicked. Edit 2. My son has some social anxiety, and since the fight he has made a lot of new friends. He used to hate going to school, but now he's disappointed that school is out for summer. Crazy. Edit 3. Thanks for the precious metals. And holy shit. Front page. Nice zero tolerance. Kid hits your kid every day, no one does shit about it. The second he fights back, suspended. What a crock. The zero tolerance shit kills me. It encourages bullies to do their thing, because nothing ever happens until the victim fights back. If they do get caught, so what? They don't have to go to school. Win for them. Zero tolerance is code for zero liability for the school. Zero tolerance rules are what leads to school shootings. Change my mind. I believe it does as well. Someone will have to change both our minds. I've done martial arts my whole life, And when I was in high school a bully attacked me because I was dating his ex-GF. I saw the punch coming and could have done a multitude of things to stop it and fight back, but decided to let him hit me because I didn't want to get in trouble. He literally just hit me. I did not even block it. I was given 3 days of in-school suspension because I must have instigated the fight. If I'd had known that was going to happen anyways, I would have just flattened the fucker. I was pissed. This isn't what zero tolerance is supposed to be. This is what educators and administrators who are incompetent think zero tolerance is. Zero tolerance policy means that for any kind of aggression or violence or fight, whatever, there is a response and appropriate consequences are handed out. For a first offender, those consequences are typically light. Maybe detention. Maybe mediation with the other kid, if it seems like a mutual thing. Maybe it's a sit down with the principal to figure out what happened, and the kid isn't punished, because they were only responding appropriately to an attack. The more trouble a kid has been involved in, the more interventions are used. Whether that's regular meetings with the guidance counselor, independent study, in-school suspension, regular suspension, meetings with the parents, referral to a counselor, or even expulsion. Zero tolerance means that prolonged bullying is not ignored. The more the rules and consequences for breaking them are ignored, the more serious the response to further violence and bullying. Zero tolerance is intended to mean you intervene right away, instead of letting kids tough it out, or hope it resolves on its own. Edit. So an appropriate response to this kid may have been maybe a detention, because it's supposed to be that you report harassment to a teacher, instead of fighting. But because of the prolonged bullying, and since we don't know the whole story, I can't say for sure. Maybe the kid did report it a long time ago, and nothing happened, who knows. All I can say is that if teachers were aware of this issue right away, and it continued happening, this kid would have maybe got a detention and the other kid would have been suspended, because one kid has a history of bullying. Source: Whole Extended Family in Education and School Board Admin. Not sure how this is a TIFU. Honestly, just a great story. TIFU: I taught my son that, if someone punches you in the head every single day and they can't rely on authority to deal with it, you should punch them back, and take care of it yourself. Not a bad lesson to teach someone in this day and age, tbh. Why didn't authorities suspend the other kid though? We don't actually know that they didn't. I think they mean, before it got to the point of Op's son hitting him back. Surely some authority figure had to have known about the punching, if it had been happening for a month. Suspensions are a joke anyway. Even if the bully gets suspended, that either means they're at home, doing what they want to do, or getting punished by their parents. So either the bully has a great time away from school or a horrible experience with their parents disciplining them. The latter leads to anger, which, surprise surprise, gets taken out on the victim all over again. The former shows them that there's no consequences to their actions. Both are bad, both are likely to continue the cycle. I don't know, man. I think if I was fucking with a kid and he just decked me with one hit, I ain't fucking with that kid anymore. Yeah, the bully deserved it. In my books, if someone hits you first then swing away. Did the school punish the kid who dislodged the bar? In my books, that is something that should have been handled, especially if it caused another surgery. Yay, this is what I want to know too. If this has been going on for so long, and had such a severe consequence for Op's kid, were any charges pressed? You cannot really press charges on the kid assuming they are quite young, at least where I'm from. Unless you're talking about charging the school. At the very least, take the family to civil court to pay for any financial burden incurred. You did the right thing, honestly. The school is in the wrong in this case. But be proud that your son defended himself. For real. Fighting is awful, but learning to defend yourself is so huge. Take it from someone who never did. Also, he asked first. What a great kid. Robert Heinlein said, paraphrasing, that quite a few situations can be solved effectively with just the correct amount of violence. You need to make a formal complaint to the school board. Your son acted in self-defense after being punched. He should not be suspended. His teacher should be suspended for letting this go on. I'm proud of your son too. While I completely agree with you, most schools have begun suspending both kids, no matter who started it. I graduated high school in '05 and even then, that was the rule. Yeah, the double suspension thing has been going for a while. My sister got in a fight in high school, where the cameras had seen the girl come up to her, grab her by the hair, and slam her against a table, and against some lockers. So her instinct was to swing back, and knock her the fuck down. Same suspension time for both of them, same punishment for bullying/attacking someone versus defending yourself.